To welcome all we are now 25, so we have people from different places all over the world, from Africa, from Asia. We have also from United States. Hi, Chris. How are you doing? And we have people from Australia, of course, from here, from Italy, Thailand, Philippines. On to you, Almar.
No, okay.
Oh, Julia.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this special webinar. We are online also on our YouTube channel, and it is my pleasure now to introduce the person who will accompany us on this virtual journey and help bring us closer to the world of CADIS. He is a chameleon religious priest from the Philippines. Most of you already know him. He is a former active member of the Chameleon Task Force in the Philippines, and he now serves as a hospital chaplain in one of the country's major hospitals. Over to you, Father Almar Roman. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. So welcome to our online symposium celebrating the season of creation, year 2025, with the theme Peace with Creation and CADIS commitment to Laudato Si through the testimonies of CADIS beneficiaries and members involved in the projects. I am again Father Almar Roman, a chameleon religious priest from the Philippine province, and I will be your moderator for today. So we are grateful to gather here as one community with CADIS International, the Laudato Si movement, and our global partners as we deepen our commitment to caring for our common home. To start our program, let us first acknowledge and welcome Brother Jose Ignacio Santalola, SAES-MI, President of CADIS International, for his opening remarks.
Fratello Ignacio, microfono. Ignacio, microfono. Ok.
Buonasera a tutti. Good evening.
Buonasera.
Grazie mille della presentazione. Thank you very much. Carissimi tutti, è con profonda gioia e gratitudine che vi do il benvenuto a nome della Fondazione CADIS a questo webinar dedicato alla celebrazione ecumenica del Tempo del Creato. La giornata mondiale di preghiera per la cura del creato, istituita 10 anni fa da Papa Francesco, in concomitanza con la pubblicazione dell'enciclica Laudato Si, apre ogni 1° settembre il tempo del creato, e cioè quel periodo dal 1° settembre al 4 ottobre, solennità di San Francesco di Assisi, in cui la Chiesa ecumenica di tutto il mondo si unisce per prendersi cura della casa comune. Anche la Fondazione CADIS si unisce a questo appello e tramite questo webinar si ritrova certamente per celebrare la bellezza del dono della vita e del mondo che ci circonda, ma anche e specialmente per ascoltare storie concrete, vissute da chi ha beneficiato dei nostri progetti e che ci ricordano perché fare quello che facciamo è importante. Il tempo del creato è un momento di riflessione, apertura e azione. È l'occasione per riconoscere che ogni creatura, ogni ambiente, ogni comunità ha un valore intrinseco, un legame vitale con la nostra stessa esistenza. Per CADIS che opera a fianco dei più fragili, valorizzare il creato significa promuovere giustizia sociale, sostenibilità ambientale, dignità umana. Oggi ascolteremo voci che vengono da luoghi lontani, nei quali il sostegno ricevuto ha fatto la differenza. Persone comuni, donne e uomini, ragazze e ragazzi che hanno ripreso speranza, che grazie alla solidarietà hanno potuto ricostruire progetti personali, comunitari, che hanno scoperto un orizzonte più ampio, non solo per se stesse, ma per tutta la loro comunità. Vorrei ringraziare tutti voi che avete scelto di essere qui, virtualmente uniti, perché la forza della comunità si misura anche nella capacità di mettersi in ascolto, di farsi carico del grido di chi soffre, di condividere benedizioni, speranze e risorse. Un ringraziamento speciale va ai nostri team locali, ai partner operativi nel campo, a coloro che ogni giorno incarnano con dedizione i valori che CADIS rappresenta. Che le testimonianze che ascolteremo ci spingano a rinnovare il nostro impegno personale e collettivo per la cura del creato e per il bene di ogni persona. Buon webinar a tutti.
Grazie mille, Frater Ignacio. Thank you very much, Brother Ignacio, for those inspiring words. We now move to the heart of our symposium, listening to our speakers who will share their insights, experiences, and initiatives in living out the season of creation. Our first speaker is the program's manager for Asia Pacific of the Laudato Si movement. She will share with us the movement's perspective and regional initiatives. Let's welcome Ms. Sherville Dugan.
Thank you very much. I'll just share my screen. So, yeah, I'd like to thank Julia, Father Aris, and CADIS for this opportunity to share with you. So, I was asked to share on the theme of this year's season of creation, along, of course, with some of the initiatives that I have witnessed in my work with Laudato Si movement. So as you may already know, the season of creation is an ecumenical initiative celebrated from September 1 to October 4, the feast of Saint Francis of Assisi. And it is supported by many Christian organizations, including the Vatican Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development, Laudato Si Movement, the World Council of Churches, Lutheran World Federation, and the Anglican Communion, among many others. So this season is a time of prayer, reflection, but also action. It's a chance to renew our covenant with our Creator and with all creation. It is an opportunity to join the many efforts of Christians and people of goodwill around the world who are all working for ecological conversion. So this annual celebration begins with a World Day of Prayer for the Care of Creation on September 1, which was instituted by our dear Pope Francis after Laudato Si was released in 2015. Since then, he has been sharing a message every year to guide us. This was continued by Pope Leo, and in July, he also celebrated the Mass for the Care of Creation at Borgo Laudato Si and Castel Gandolfo in Italy, a clear sign of how deeply this call is now rooted in the Church's life. And this year, the season invites us to go deeper through a particular theme. And this year's theme comes from Isaiah 32:14 to 18, which is on the slide. I'm not going to read it anymore. But in this particular verses, Isaiah speaks of desolation caused by injustice, but also on the other hand, he spoke of hope, which when justice dwells, peace follows, and the wilderness flourishes again. And to help us visualize this message, we were given a powerful symbol. So the symbol of this year's season of creation is the Garden of Peace. On one side, it shows barren land. The other side, flourishing life. And above it flies a dove with the olive branch, recalling both Noah's flood and God's promise of renewal. And this also reminds us, of course, of our first vocation in Genesis, which is to tend to the garden. So the one side of the Garden of Peace points us to the reality that the cry of creation is real. And many of you would know this directly from the mission of CADIS, from your missions in the field. You would have seen and you know what it means when creations cry. Because you walk alongside communities after storms, after floods, earthquakes, and other disasters. So these disaster events reveal both ecological imbalance and injustice. The poorest and the most vulnerable suffer the most, even though they contributed the least to the causes of climate change. So this is what we have seen in the field, and this is what it reminds us. But Isaiah wasn't only pointing out what was broken. He also pointed out to hope. And hope is not really just about waiting around. Hope calls us to pray. Hope calls us to act, to change, to reconcile with creation and our Creator. And from your mission, Cadiz would have witnessed the cry of creation, but you also witness when hope is reborn and when peace begins to take root again. We also see this hope alive in the many ways in Laudato Si movement. So we were also witnesses to communities restoring forests and mangroves, young people leading climate actions. You would see in the picture are very young animators from Timor-Leste leading the national conversation on the local conference of youth, which feeds to the conversation on the UN Climate Summit. You would also see some pictures of faith-based groups or congregations responding with courage and compassion. You will see on one of the pictures at the top, those are members of Laudato Si movement in Korea. They are made up mostly of religious congregations, and they, for like more than 200 weeks now, they have been doing every Friday this climate action, calling on their banks to stop financing fossil fuel projects in the region and beyond. But we also see this hope not only in the grassroots leaders, but also in the prophetic leadership of our church shepherds, our church leaders. So recently, Catholic bishops from Africa, from Asia, and Latin America spoke with one voice ahead of the climate summit, or the COP30. They issued a bold joint statement declaring that the church will not remain silent. And I will read, we will continue to raise our voice alongside science, civil society, and the most vulnerable with truth and consistency until justice is done. So their message was very clear. It's focused towards sending this message to the countries coming to the COP30 in Brazil. So they are urging for stronger commitments to keep global warming below 1.5 degrees. They want wealthy nations to repay their ecological debt through fair and accessible finance. They want an end to coal, oil, and gas and the rejection of false solution. And they are advocating for safeguarding of indigenous peoples, ecosystems, women, youth, ensuring a just and equitable transition. And so from the voice of our church leaders up to the voice of the grassroots who are witnessing this, the theme of the season, the message is really the same: to live peace with creation. And this is also the heart of the work of CADIS. You are not only responding to disasters, you're helping communities rebuild with dignity, resilience, and peace. And in many ways, CADIS embodies this year's theme already by being present where peace is fragile, by nurturing seeds of hope in these difficult situations you are in, and this hope can grow into renewal. And this season extends an invitation to us all, and that is to take action, to pray for affected communities, to reflect on scripture and our shared mission of caring for our common home, to, of course, celebrate the courage and resilience of people and communities who show us what peace with creation looks like, but also to act by making changes in our lives, standing for justice, especially as the world prepares for COP30 in Belém, Brazil next year, where crucial decisions about our common home will be made again. And so this is not just a season to observe, but also a season to live. And we warmly invite you all to share your own stories of celebration, your stories of action at seasonofcreation.org, where you'll also find so many inspiring testimonies from communities around the world. Many have already shared their season of creation journeys in that page. And the Garden of Peace reminds us that both destruction and flourishing exists in our world today, but through our faith, through our mission, our choices, we can help creation move from desolation to renewal. And so during this season, I'd like to invite you to commit ourselves again to being peacemakers with creation and to raising our voices as global family so that gatherings like COP30 may truly become turning points for justice and peace. So I thank you again for this chance to be with you all, and I do look forward to the inspiring testimonies that we will hear today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sherville, for that enlightening sharing. Truly, it reminds us of the call to live in harmony with creation. And may we continue to accompany communities, no, with dignity and resilience, to pray for those most affected also, and to act with compassion and courage in caring for our common home. Again, maraming salamat po, Ms. Cheryl. Our next speaker is from the Philippines. She's the Visayas Primary Healthcare Services, or VPHCS, Project Coordinator, and will present their experiences and projects in Cebu in promoting resilience and creation care. Let us all welcome Dr. Erlinda Posadas.
Good evening. I'm so happy to be here tonight with you. And I'm just so excited also to share experiences. We have a very good project with the support of CADIS. So can I just be sure that everybody can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So our organization is called Visayas Primary Healthcare Services. It's a non-government organization. We're based in Cebu City, and we promote primary health care. So with the support of CADIS and the Italian Bishop Conference, we were able to implement this project, building disaster-resilient communities in informal settlements in Cebu City, Philippines. That was May 2023 to April 2020, practically 2 years. We were working with CADIS and our people's organizations in these 4 communities to implement this project. Next slide, please. So our project goal is to develop community-based disaster management, integrating health and food security. So we have three purposes here. So community disaster resilience, and primary healthcare promotion, and food security. So these three very important issues that the people really wanted us to work with them and CADIS for their well-being. So our partner organizations are the Sitio Nancaville Women's Association. I'll show you the pictures here. So this is actually Sitio Nancaville. It is actually the community is in a hillside. Practically, it was not habitable when the residents from another urban poor barangay relocated there in 2018. So they practically had to clean the trees, and build their homes there. So this is actually, that's already 7 years ago. So that is Sitio Nancaville Association in Sitio Nancaville, Quezon, Cebu City. Then this is Sitio Wang Women's Association. It's just in Cebu City also, Barangay Mambaling. You can see that the houses there are not really finished. They were actually struck with, when we started the project, okay? When we started the project, they just had a fire in December 2022. They actually had 3 fires already. So it's a very, very congested environment where the houses are made of light materials and very susceptible to fires. So, and then this one is Sitio Terra Dulce in Dayawan, Cebu City. So you can see, actually they are near a river, the river which goes to the sea. They are actually located in the barangay where the dam site, the big dam site of Cebu City was located about 10 years ago. So they're the sea. So there's a river there, and the river would overflow during heavy rains and then fill the land with water, with floods. No, okay. And then the fourth is actually Sitio ng Lawis Women's Association, Pasil. You can see this is actually a big highway in the sea. This is actually facing Mactan Island. If you've gone to Cebu City, where you are facing Mactan Island, this is actually Barangay Ermita, is also Barangay Pasil. This is Sitio Lawis, very, very congested place in Barangay Pasil. So again, we consulted with the residents there, particularly their people's organizations, what we could do to address these problems, congested houses, and then vulnerability to fires, vulnerability to floods. And then and also the problem is because they're at a distance, particularly here in Nancaville, very, very far. So if ever there's a fire, there was no fire ever since they shut down. The fire trucks would really take a long time for them to, it's uphill, very, very far. So limited access to health and disaster response services. Okay, that's a situation that we responded to with the project. Okay, next slide, please. So of course, our essential goal was to empower the people. It is not CADIS or the Visayas Marital Services which would giving them the solutions to their problems. We had to really work and empower the people, what we could do together with them. No, it's not, of course, spoon feeding them. Okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Of course not. So we worked first with capability. We had several trainings, particularly the PACDR. So here, during the trainings here in August 2023, they identified collectively their vulnerabilities. So again, as I already discussed, they're vulnerable to fires, their floods, lack of health services. And they also identified their resources. Primarily, one very big resource there is their unity already. So that's one big asset that we're so proud that the people have, which would really be a very good instrument for us to carry on the project. Okay, and then so after they identified their vulnerabilities and their needs and also their assets, built-in assets among themselves, okay, what they really have already in the first without really having to depend on outside assistance, then they planned out. So they had project planning of what to do for the project, particularly disaster risk reduction and planning. So we just also distributed disaster kits for them. Okay, we also they also went to the barangay council to ask for fire extinguishers. Okay, next please, next slide please. So of course, whenever there's a disaster, health would be very affected. People would have wounds, so they couldn't respond. So there would be mental problems already with this trauma. So we were preparing the people also to respond to the health needs of the people during disasters. But of course, because they're not, we don't expect also disasters to happen. So we also actually train them to respond to ordinary health needs of the people. So we train barangay health workers, community health workers, CHWs, on basic health skills, which they can use in order to provide the people there with health services. So we train them how to take blood pressure, take care of children who have diarrhea, fever, okay, malnutrition. So they suddenly became, well, not kind of very little doctors. So we're so happy that we were able to share our skills with them on health service. So they themselves now are the doctors in their own ways, in their own communities. Okay. So that's actually ventosa here. No, they also learned from us how to do cupping therapy or ventosa. So you can see that this health worker was seeing if this child has pneumonia or not just by simply counting the respiratory rate, because if it's fast, then the child might have pneumonia and he would have to refer to the health center. Okay, next slide, please. So in response to the vulnerability of being far susceptible, so the people's organization, they work with BPHCS in order to raise awareness of the people. So they were careful that when they cook their daily meals, so they wouldn't be careful. They were careful with their gas, and then their fuel, and then also be careful that their children do not play with candles, or really it was because they really worked so hard, to promote awareness of the people to prevent fires. And here, because this community, City of Lawis in Pasil, is very prone to floods because of the poor drainage. Is also very environmental, not very good. So the women there, once a week or more than once a week, they come together and then clean up their communities. It's a very congested alleys. So and also sometimes the people there just throw their garbage anywhere. So they really work so hard in order that their drainage would be at least clean, and then won't when the rains come, there won't be flooding. Okay. And this is actually in Sitio Nangcaville. I said the place which is on a hillside. So they actually paved the road with support. They actually asked donations from the barangay for cement. Okay, you see, they work so hard to tap the resources of the government. Okay, and so they paved their hillside with cement. No, okay, you can see that. Okay, it's actually the women here who are practically doing the work. Okay, next slide, please. And then, okay, so next year, of course, we continued with the organization's regular meetings, because we know that the project will need the continued strength and unity of the people. So the this is actually Sitio Terra Dulce, this one. Sitio Terra Dulce, you have a very passionate leader, Marinette, okay? And so they actually discussed together in their regular monthly meeting what are the needs that they need and what can the organization do, to address these things together. Take note na BPSCS is just on the sideline. We don't actually meet in front with them. They actually do calling the shots. Okay, we're just guiding them. Okay, so yeah, you can see also that the regional health workers there are very active in giving health service. So here, Mom Naning is taking the temperature of this child with fever. Okay, and then of course they can really know what to do next because they were trained on that. And we have a regular weekly feeding program here for the children. It's not really feeding only, but it's the time when women come together and then share their resources together. So they chip in rice, they chip in small chicken pieces, and the children are very happy. Okay, so in this times also when the people gather together for a feeding program of their children, they also discuss about their needs, how to address their needs. Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. So of course we continued also with our fire awareness, fire prevention awareness. We actually invited the Bureau of Fire Protection, the firemen of Cebu City, who came to our sitios. This is in Nangcaville, and train the people what to do if you have suddenly a fire outbreak here. Okay, so don't panic, of course, So what to call, and then how to put off the fire, and then okay, so we were so happy that the firemen went to us even if there was no fire. Okay, and then so we also, because as I said, disaster resilience and primary healthcare and food security. So we also address the problem of the lack of livelihood, no, because you know, when there's disaster comes and then people just has their kanang belongings gone away with fires, etc. So they have to have resources in order to start building up again their houses, so when if the aid comes in late. So actually we are working on building sources of livelihood for them, and not to depend on outside resources for their livelihood, but practically to see what are their indigenous resources. So we actually work with the people together to see what are their skills, their talents, their resources inside their own community. That's called asset-based community development, to find out based on what the resources are, then what projects or livelihood can they come up with in order to address the problem of food security. Okay. Then next slide, please. So of course we also listen to both Francis na call for care for environment. So okay, so here Sitio Terra Dulce, and this is Sitio Terra Dulce. This is actually Sitio Wangyu. They're very active here cleaning up because we don't want floods. We don't want, of course, na environmental unsanitation. And so we had a parade, yeah, with the students, different schools here in Laudato Si week. Okay. So next slide, please. Okay, and you know that we cannot work alone with the people organization, so we have to collaborate with the church leaders, because you know that when disaster strikes, the first sanctuary that we will go is not only the barangay but also the church. Okay, so we coordinated with the church parish priest of the 4 parishes. Okay, so thank you. So we hope to continue with our project. Okay, and then let's to continue with working with the people to continue pursuit of the disaster resilience, the food security, and the primary health services. Okay. Thank you very much. This is up here. These are positive impacts. Okay, positive impacts. So I already discussed about this. And then next slide, please. So future plans. Okay, moving forward. Okay. So thank you very much. Good evening.
Daghang salamat, Dr. Erlinda. Thank you very much, Dr. Erlinda, for showing us how creation care is deeply connected, no, with community well-being. We are truly grateful and inspired by your projects. United in prayer, we stand with you in advocacy for the love and care of creation. By the way, the question will be raised after the talk, and we will allow time for the question and answer portion later. Our third speakers are 2 youth leaders from Matare, Kenya. No? They will share their experiences as young leaders to preserve the environment, sharing the waste problems in the area and solutions they are implementing. Let us all welcome Mr. Collins Odhiambo and Mr. Alex Minati Awar.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roman, and thank you, everyone. Good afternoon once more again for everyone. My name is Collins Max Odhiambo. I'm a human rights defender, activist in Kenya, and also an ecological justice champion in Madare slum, which is the second biggest slum in Africa. I serve also as the coordinator of Utalii Zero Waste Alliance in Kenya, supported by CADIS Kenya in waste management. So today I want to talk about the problem. As all of you know that Madare is one of the densely populated informal settlements in Nairobi, and being one of the biggest slums in Africa. The issue that we are facing is one is waste collection. Another problem is waste is the environmental degradation. We have lack of public space to use as holding points. Another thing is drainage system blockage. Those are some of the problems that we face through. Also, we have private developers grabbing land meant for public facilities. We also have issues related to health hazards, illegal dump sites, loss of dignity within the informal settlement. So the problems within the informal settlement are many, and we are trying to come up with the mechanism or with the ways on how to solve the issues in terms of uniting youths or in uniting young men within the informal settlement to deal with issues of waste collection. It has not been easy for us because the issue of waste collection is something that usually happens. It happens every weekend, but there is that reluctance of people, those who are collecting waste, those who are dealing with issues of waste, and also there's no much enough resources channeled to the issues of waste, especially to the waste pickers, and even those people who are dealing with issues of waste. We find out that private developers or different people that know how to manage issues of waste are taking over from the community levels, and they're the ones who are managing this. They are the ones who are trying to manage these issues of garbage or issues of waste, and that has been a very problematic to the young youths that are coming up because there is also nothing. There is lack of unemployment in Kenya here. So some of the things that we can do is like dealing with issues of waste collection and any other things relating to waste. But we thank the Almighty God in this year of creation of this year of creating to help continue to the CADIS family and to the CADIS fraternity to continue supporting different initiatives or different projects within the informal settlement in different places, so that youths, even not only youths, even women, even young mothers can continue having something to do in relating to issues of waste, because that has been the major problem, especially here in Africa and especially in Nairobi. And Nairobi, as you all know, Nairobi serves as the largest city in Kenya. So we have issues of garbage. So that is also a problem that we are tackling. And I believe because we cannot handle issues or we cannot tackle everything at once, it is something that happens gradually, slowly by slowly, we will be getting towards the better community and towards a better environment. I think my friend also Alex is there. He will add some, and I think we'll also continue to engage more on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Collins.
you very much.
Yes, Alex.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be one of this program communication. And as my friend has been talking about, we really appreciate for the income of CADIS, which with the help of CADIS, hundreds of youths in Madare came together with an aim of reclaiming the environment, health, and dignity. This was due to collection and merging of 10 group CBOs groups within Madare who are conducting waste management duty. CADIS initiated various activities to ensure that this activity was effective and effective, such as community sanitization. Communicating with the community about the importance of proper waste disposal. Another one is communicating community cleanup. Madare community as Utalii General was mobilized for cleanup day that took place on 25th July of this year. By doing this, the community were really informed and they got information on how to handle waste and in every areas how they could tackle this issue of disposal and ignorance of disposing waste without being caring. They really tackled this, and also in addition to that, the members of the community realized that there was a way of conducting this, which helped really a lot. They also initiated weekly garbage collection, which in every Saturday of the week, groups are able to collect waste from households and they merge together. Then CADIS are providing vehicles that help us to dispose the waste from exactly at the place where they are, where is Dandora in Nairobi. We really appreciate for all that, because in addition in that, we also got information whereby we are being informed, and we go for training, which is initiated by CADIS, whereby most of the youth or members of the groups get information on how they can sort the waste and which waste should be disposed and which waste are supposed to be recycled, together with and what can help everyone from that waste to gain something. The following are the some of the testimonies that we have seen and other information that we get from neighbors who since CADIS came through. And if you walk from the streets of Mathare Foray every Saturday and Sunday, you'll find the streets are very clean since of this general cleaning that also always happen. And again, the youths are also engaged. In addition to that, you find that most of the youths who are not using this opportunity to clean up the areas or the streets or this waste management, they saw this thing as a good thing, where they became together and started joining one another to, in addition of the members of the groups of Utalii Waste Zero Alliance, so that they can be part of them, because this issue was really affecting them and they really wish to be part of it. So in that, the youths of Mathare are really appreciating and they really wished to have more engagement in them, because in Mathare there's so many youths and you find that only 100 youths are engaged in these activities and more of them would wish to be in. Okay, in addition on all those activities, when the youths collect waste, they find a little income from it, whereby they collect small amount in the households, which may keep on improving them and giving them the morale of doing this job. The way forward we are looking at is aim to have material recovery facility in future, which will help us to maintain this issue and to maintain the good way of managing waste. Because if we will not be able to continue with this, we'll be affected in the same way like in the year 2024, April, where we got a disaster of flooding, whereby I was one of the people who was affected by my house being demolished to the water. So we will wish this thing to continue going on so that to prevent such issues and we live in a better place and also in a good environment. And also we will wish if there is room whereby more youths can be engaged again to be part of this alliance, so that they cannot feel they are being left out for these activities that is going through, because most of them will wish to be part of us. Otherwise, I really appreciate for this time, and I really appreciate CADIS for the wonderful things that you're doing and the empowerment of the youths that you've given unto us. Thank you.
Maybe, Mr. Roman, if I just add what maybe Alex did not mention, we have also seen the unity of young men coming up together. And out of the 10 youth groups that are being supported by the CADIS Kenya, we have seen an outreach of other 5 youth groups coming on board to deal with the issues of waste, and that is a plus to the CADIS Kenya and also a plus to us as the Utalii Zero Waste Alliance, because initially the project was to support 10 groups, but now we have seen groups coming on board without being supported from CADIS, but they volunteer without having any tools, any material to do the work, but they have come on board to do it. So we have seen that as a plus to us as a community, and also it has really help us to unite those youth that were not working together within the informal segment. Also, again, I want to say that the programs are working well to us as the community alliance, and we are really wishing to get more exposed by the CADIS Kenya and any other partners that are coming on board. We are also reaching out to different partners to continue supporting what we are doing, because CADIS is doing a lot in support to our alliance. So thank you very much, Mr. Roman, and maybe I think we'll continue having more conversation as time goes by.
Yeah, thank you, Collins and Alex, for your passion and commitment as young leaders shaping a sustainable future. No? Your witness is very timely in the season of creation, reminding us that caring for our common home requires both youthful energy and hopeful action. May your example continue to inspire many to live in harmony with creation. For our next speaker is from Wajir, Kenya, a CADIS Kenya volunteer. He will tell us about CADIS projects over the years to face the drought emergency and build the resilience of the population. Let us listen to Mr. Barid Aris.
In Wajir, almost we thank the CTF, the former CTF, which became CADIS. They came to the intervention of the drought system in Wajir in 2011, whereby they started giving out food to the affected people of all sorts, food of all sorts to affected people. And again, the people were pastoralists, they were nomads. They didn't know the issue of farming. CTF or CADIS brought the issue of farming, whereby we cultivated a demonstration farm, where we trained the local farmers, where we trained the public health on intervention of the health sites, and now Wajir has turned into a farming area. Again, CADIS assisted on building of toilets for the good sanitary services. The other issue is the water by digging of wells in Wajir, whereby the latest was the Kahira water project, where they dug the water and installed solar and water tanks and so many other issues. So at least the people of Wajir thank the CADIS, and the only words they say, CADIS should come back to their rescue and help on other issues. Thank you.
So, thank you, Mr. Barrett, for highlighting the impact of climate change and the certification in Wajir. And now for more testimonies and concrete expressions of love of creation, let us warmly welcome and listen to a message from Father Francis Munene.
So, good evening, good morning, good afternoon once more again. I am Father Francis Maina Munene. I am a project coordinator in Kenya, working with CADIS in Kenya. And I would like to say something about what Mr. Baruch just mentioned about Wajir. He has tried to join and is not able to really join because of the network there. I want to mention when we talk about Wajir, what this means. Wajir is a region in northeastern parts of Kenya in a very arid landscape, around 700 kilometers away from the central Nairobi. And Wajir is synonymous with severe and recurrent drought. These crises that have recurred for many years, and it is driven by a combination of geography, more so climate change, and environmental degradation. which leaves the communities in Wajir so vulnerable. As we celebrate now the season of creation, CADIS is actually celebrating a decade, and actually more than 1 decade of support of these vulnerable communities through promoting stewardship of creation in a region that has ever been impacted by the climate change. In 2011, that is when CADIS landed in Wajir, when there was a very, very severe drought contributed largely by the climate change. CADIS began, as we have heard Mr. Barut saying, at giving testimony by giving an immediate relief of food and drugs that time. And through that, CADIS started again to intervene on water scarcity that was the greatest driver of the drought through provision of water and livelihood. So CADIS intervened by drilling boreholes, rehabilitating shallow wells that had already dried at that time, and also installing solar panels or solar powered panels that contributed to a long-term ecological sustainability. This also assisted in a great way for food production, which was also a very big issue. Lack of water contributing to lack of food, and therefore there was establishment of food security that enables the farmers also to get knowledge and skills of how to do farming, and that is sustainable farming through solar paneled powered system. From that moment, people in Wajir who are pastoralists, they started to get skills of how to produce their own food. However, we are talking of an area that has a very high, very harsh climate situation, and therefore this, after CADIS intervention, after some years, this recurred because of a prolonged failure of rain for like 2 to 3 years, and therefore again the people found themselves in the same situation. CADIS was there again to assist. In this particular time, this was between 2020 to 2021, we also launched again another emergency relief and recovery program through focus on children who are under the age of 5 and the aged 16 and above, distribution of food and also distribution of drugs. But also again, our aim is to create and to build resilience. And again, we entered again into the supply of clean water for drinking through supply of clean water. And also provision of solar panel in various villages that one of the villages, what Barut just mentioned, Kahera village, that had not seen water for many years. And we were able to rehabilitate shallow wells and also install solar power panel power that is still operating up today. When we talk about CADIS in Wajir, it is an impact that up today, with the collaboration of all our collaborators and especially the Chameleon sisters who are in Wajir, it's a great responsibility that we feel as stewards of this, as stewards of God's creation. We need to be there. In many years now, the rainy season has jumped. Wajir has failed again to have rain for quite some time. But the resilience that through training and through CADIS participation in Wajir, at least we see the people trying to do the production of food. They try to do kitchen garden and produce their own food. And therefore, as we celebrate the season of creation, our presence as CADIS in Wajir, we are we can say we are happy that we have contributed in building the resilience of the vulnerable community of Wajir people with dignity and with peace. We are planning again to hold their hands again for the next, from next year. We will still be there again to build on what we began and to see that the resilience continues. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to say something, and especially about Wajir. And also, as CADIS, we are doing great. We have heard the testimonies of the people, our youth in Madare, and they have begun to be drivers of their own sustainability, drivers of their own resilience. And we pray that as we celebrate this season of creation, they embrace the responsibility of taking care of our Mother Earth with love and care. Thank you very much.
Asante, Padre Francis. Thank you, Father Francis, for your dedication to CADIS and for being a true steward of God's creation.
Asante
Finally,
sana. Thank you. Thank you, Padre Amar.
Finally, we
Precious.
will hear from a fundraising officer at the Chameleon Home for Children Living with Disabilities in Bangkok, Thailand. She will share the history of the Happy Farm project to promote and celebrate Laudato Si. Let us all welcome Miss Teresa Porntipa Sombat.
Okay.
Hello, Miss Teresa.
Audio, please, Teresa.
Okay. ผมหยิบไปเสียเนี่ยแล้วก็หาไฟล์เมื่อกี้เปิดไฟล์เข้าถ้ามันเป็นไฟล์สกรีนแชร์สกรีนหน้าจออันนี้ใช่ไหมทำตอนประชุมที่แล้วมันเป็นอีกแบบมันสูงโอเคถามเขาว่าเขาเห็นไฟล์ไม่ก่อนแต่หยุดเห็นไฟล์
Everyone can see my slide.
No, okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, go ahead.
ดูตรงนี้แล้วก็พิเศษไปเลย
Okay, I will talk about Happy Farm of Chameleon. Cancer Chameleon Foundation of Thailand is an organization created by the National Committee for the Promotion of Social Welfare Management, the Chameleon Home for Children Living with Disabilities Lat Krabang, operating on behalf of the St. Camillus Foundation, is registered as a non-profit children's charity and is providing programs for the benefit of disadvantaged children living with disability and children community. The Chameleon Home operates under 7 projects giving care and assistance for 150 persons. Resident children, daycare children, home care children. physical therapy Saturday program, post-graduation education, staff training, homeless. So the Happy Farm project will be a learning center for everyone. Children staff at the Chameleon home, the children's families, the surrounding community, and the general public. We will show how horticultural therapy can help improve both mind and body, especially for children with disability, but it can benefit everyone. Target audience. We have two audience about our group. Main target group, Chameleon students and employees, total 150 persons. Secondary target group, people in communities near Lát Gà Bàng district, On Nut, Minburi, Khong Samwa, Nong Chok, and general public, total 1,000 persons for year. Happy Farm will a learning center for everyone, children, employees for the Chameleon home, children family, community in the neighborhood, and general public. We will explain how horticulture therapy can improve mind and body, especially for our children living with disability, but also for everyone. In addition, on a nutrition aspect, we would like to teach the community and our children why eating fresh food and vegetables that are conservative in a sustainable way is very important for the health. Whatever our personal background, we can do something with our hands and mind. Be a major person with good values and contribute to society. Objective about Happy Farm, we have first, to have children with disability participate in organic gardening activity according to their abilities. Second, to encourage children to eat more vegetables by going by themselves. Third, to improve the children's physical and mental health, fostering happiness and good physical skills. Fourth, to be a source of learning and transferring information about the health from the organic vegetable consumption, especially towards our employees. Fifth, to be a physical learning resource, and then our children can share the knowledge received from training to the people in the community. Next. Monthly activity at the Happy Farm. We have three activities. The first, discussing and exchange about horticulture therapy that affect nutrition. We have the budget detail, fresh meal for 30 people, multiply 60 baht, multiply one meal, budget 1,800 baht. Second, snack for 30 people, multiply 25 baht, multiply 2 times 1,500 baht. 3 speaker fee for 2 people, multiply 600 baht, multiply 2 hours, 2,400. 4. Coordination fee, 1,000. So we total budget for activity 6,700 baht. So we have activity to do this year. We have two activity to do this year. First, for residential houses. Each unit consists of one room accommodating 2 persons with a private bathroom. Price per unit 1,000 baht, so 400,000 baht. Construction of an accessible restroom for persons with disabilities. One accessible restroom for persons with disability at the cost 100,000 baht. Total budget 480,000 baht. Activity to do this year in the future to accommodate other children who will be living at the Shelling Life Garden. The shelter is pending to provide 4 knockdown houses and 2 bathrooms and showers for children with disabilities. So one of we teachers and staff take children with disability to the Shelling Life Garden for activities such as caring for animals, painting vegetables, and learning to live close to nature, following Pope Francis' Laudato Si. This experience also helped the children recognize their self-worth and prepare them to go into value in the volume who can share goodness with others in line with the motto below. Every life is a world, every breath a song, through which nature tells us that God is always near. Caring for the world is praising Him through our action and is our response to His love given to us through all of creation. So this is the picture of our children activities for children with disability at Chameleon Home in North Shore. So this is support the project through donation by the bank, and contact us and receive at ID Chameleon Home on line application Chameleon Home PR and gmail.com. So thank you.
Kapun ka, Miss Teresa. Thank you, Miss Teresa, for that inspiring testimony of community action in creation care. So your witness reminds us that united in faith and commitment, we can truly protect our common home. So now we open the floor for brief reflections or questions from our participants. We have 39 to 40 participants. So please type your questions in the chat box or raise your hand using the emoticon and we will call on you for our question and answer portion. Okay, before that, while you are also thinking and reflecting your questions for our speakers, I would like to read some of the few comments from our chat box. From Anita Ennis, thank you, Father Francis, on your uplifting summary. I have a particular affinity for the people of Wajir and the Chameleon Sisters who give witness by their lives in the hardships of conditions before even considering climate change impact. Thank you, Anita. From Chris Contijo, given the recent protests in the Philippines and the just reasons behind them, this is a wonderful and encouraging news. Thank you, Chris. And that's all from our chat box comments. I now again reiterate for those who have questions for our speakers, kindly chat in our write in our chat box or raise your hand using the emoticon and we will call on you. Okay, if there's no question, let's move on. Now, I hand over the floor to Father Aristelo Miranda MI, CADIS Director, for a final greeting and the ongoing prayer and fundraising campaign for the World Day for the Victims of Disasters. Welcome, Father Aris.
Okay, so can you hear me? Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, Father.
Yeah, good afternoon and good evening and good morning to the rest. It's indeed very heartwarming to see you once again here with our webinar. So I was asked by the committee to share to you our forthcoming activity, which will be soon in October, regarding the World Day of World Day of Prayer for the Victims of Disasters. So let me just share to you my slides. All right. Okay, can you see my slides now?
Yes, Father.
All right. So every October 13, the Chameleons is celebrating and promoting this World Day of Prayer for the Victims of Disasters. On this day, we pause to honor countless men and women and children whose lives had been lost or forever changed by natural and human-made disasters. We remember families who have lost homes, livelihoods, and loved ones. Their pain is our reminder, and their resilience is our inspiration. But October 13 is also not only about remembrance. On this very day, the United Nations invites the world to observe the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction. This global observance urges us to act, not just to grieve after tragedy strikes, but to prevent, prepare, and reduce the risks that create disasters in the first place. Disasters are not abstract. They have faces, like the mother searching for her children after a typhoon, the farmer watching his crops withered under drought. These pictures, the first one was taken in Myanmar recently during the earthquake and the ongoing civil war. In the middle, that is a picture of Pakistan, which I took way back in 2011 during the height of the flood in the southern part of Pakistan, and as well another image of a Pakistani mother. Here, the next picture, that is the place in Baringo, that's in Kenya, wherein people were driven away by the flood and all their farms were flooded. Again, disasters have faces like this community displaced by earthquakes, floods, or conflict. The World Day of Prayer for the Victims of Disasters reminds us that behind every statistics, there are stories of human suffering and stories of hope as well. Their tears must move us, their courage must inspire us. Today is a call to solidarity, to stand with the survivors, and to never forget those who are gone. As Pope Francis reminds us in Laudato Si, we are not disconnected from the rest of creatures, but join in a splendid universal communion. When one community suffers, all humanity suffers. To remember the victims is to acknowledge this sacred bond and to recommit ourselves to compassion and solidarity. But remembrance alone is not enough. It is only the first step. We owe to the victims more than mourning. We owe them action. These celebrations urge us to look forward. Disasters are not only about earthquake, storms, or droughts. As Pope Francis teaches, what turns hazards into disasters is human injustice, poverty, neglect of the poor, exploitation of nature, and the failure to protect the most vulnerable. He warns us in Laudato Si that humanity still has the ability to work together in building our common home. This is both a challenge and a hope. Disasters need not define our future if we act with responsibility, foresight, and love. The picture that you have been seeing now, this is taken, and I took this in Pakistan. This was also during the flood in 2011. And you saw those women, they are removing the roof of the house because they said, in this house, this is the only thing that we own. This is the only thing that we work hard and bought with our money. And that is why we want to bring them as we leave this place who was already being affected by the flood. All the rest of the houses are made of mud, which is available anywhere. Disasters are increasing. Climate change, conflict, pandemics, and environmental degradation all intensify risk. According to the United Nations reports, the world is experiencing more frequent and severe disasters, placing vulnerable communities at even greater risk. But here is the truth. Disasters are not natural. Earthquakes, storms, floods, etc. These are natural hazards. What turns them into disasters is our vulnerability, unsafe housing, lack of early warning systems, poverty, environmental destruction, and corruption in the government. Reducing risk means reducing vulnerability. In every disaster, two cries rise up. The cry of the earth, like the forest burning, seas rising, land cracking under drought, and the cry of the poor, who are always the first to suffer and the last to recover. Today, however, we have to realize that the true ecological approach always becomes a social approach. To reduce disaster risk is not only technical work, it is moral work rooted in justice and in our shared humanity. The UN's theme for 2024, International Day of Risk Reduction, in 2024 is empowering the next generation for a resilient future, speaks directly to the vision of Laudato Si. Our young people, just like what we have seen with Matahari, must not only be seen as victims of disasters, they must also be leaders of resilience, builders of communities where sustainability and justice walk hand in hand. Disaster risk reduction means safer homes, early warning systems, education, solidarity, and care for creation. It means that in honoring today's victims, we ensure that tomorrow's children inherit not ashes and ruins, but a thriving, secure, and hopeful world. When we commemorate the victims, we also commit to building a safer, fairer, more resilient world so that fewer people become victims tomorrow. So what we can do today, tomorrow and beyond, we can pray. Pray for healing, for wisdom, for courage. We can educate ourselves and others about the links between ecology, disaster, and justice. We can act by reducing our ecological footprint, supporting disaster relief and climate adaptation efforts, demanding policies that protect both people and the planet. Friends, October 13 is more than a date. It is a bridge between memory and action. The World Day of the Victims of Disasters invites us to remember those who have suffered. The International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction challenges us to act with wisdom and courage to prevent future suffering. Let us honor the victims, not only with our prayers and words, but also with our commitment to risk reduction, resilience, and solidarity. In their memory, let us build communities where fewer lives are lost, fewer families are broken, and hope always rises stronger than despair. In the spirit of Laudato Si, let us remember that caring for victims means caring for creation, and caring for creation means protecting humanity. Let me just end with these three calls to memory, responsibility, and hope. Memory. Everything is connected. The fate of the earth, the poor, and disaster victims are bound together. Responsibility. The cry of the earth and the cry of the poor cannot continue. It is a call to our conscience and to act with urgency. Hope. Humanity still has the ability to work together in building our common home. With all the testimonies that we heard, it has been proven. Hopeful and forward-looking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father Aris, for your unwavering dedication to this advocacy, reminding us that even in trials and disasters, people must continue to feel God's love. Rest assured of our prayers and support, Padre. May I call now Ms. Julia for a very important announcement?
Yes. Okay, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
First of all, I'd like to thank all the speakers and participants, and thank you, Father Almar, for facilitating the webinar. So, in connection with our year-long celebration for the 10th anniversary of CADIS International, we were invited during the last months to express our creativity by composing songs, designing a logo, and even formulating our common prayer as part of our thanksgiving for this milestone. Today, we are pleased to launch the official prayer, beautifully composed by Sister Nancy Kibuki from Kenya, that is here with us. We encourage everyone to make this prayer part of our journey together. So now we officially launch it, and let's pray together. Thank you.
Wait a second.
Thank you, Julia. And as we conclude this symposium, let us remember that the season of creation is not only a celebration, but also a call to action, no? To live in peace with creation, to care for vulnerable, and to protect our common home. On behalf of the CADIS International, the Laudato Si movement, and our partners, we sincerely thank you for joining us today. Our gratitude also goes to all our speakers for their inspiring contributions and to the core group who facilitated this momentous activity, especially Miss Julia and Father Aris. Together, may we continue to nurture a spirit of solidarity, compassion, and commitment in caring for our common home. May we continue to walk together with courage, compassion, and hope. I am Father Alma Roman saying, we are all stewards of God's creation. And may this season of creation inspire us to renew our covenant with the earth, to embrace simplicity and solidarity, and to let justice and peace flow like a river in our world. Have a blessed day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, everyone.